relationship with my little sister is basically like a tampon commercial, you know? It's really backlit and emo, and we're very supportive of one another. We're each other's emergency contact and plus one. We have a zombie/nuclear apocalypse survival plan that involves meeting up at the bar we used to drink at in our 20s, loading up on food and liquid, because I'm sure they'll give that to us, and then walking up Connecticut Avenue, out 270 to 70 to Ohio, to the safety of my mother's house, obviously. And we travel together a lot too, and we have lots of adventures that way. And so when we fell into some money in 2009 and booked an African safari, I thought that trip would be just another in a long line of adventures that we could talk about when we were little old ladies in a rocking chair. And that's how it began. We went to Tanzania, and within the first 2 days that we were there, we saw the big five: elephant, rhino, buffalo, cheetah, damn it, something else exciting, lion, oh my God, and that's the whole point of this story. Yeah, lion. On our second morning, we toured the Ngorongoro crater, and we saw a pride of lions stalk, attack, and kill a water buffalo like 5 feet from the open air Land Rover that we were in. Now, that's the kind of experience that you cannot be jaded about, you know what I mean? Like, it's so elemental and primal and amazing, and it was all thanks to the good instincts of our guide, Paul. Paul was a Maasai tribesman turned safari guide, great guy, great stories he told around the campfire each night, you know, knew a lot of stuff that we needed to know. And if I could say that he had one flaw, it might be that he had a pretty obvious crush on my sister, Bree. But, like, he kept mentioning several times a day how strong her calves were. But that's actually true. She does have strong calves, and I didn't think it was that creepy. So, and it's pretty much par for the course for her since she won class flirt in 8th grade. I have to monitor all situations with her because Bree is very friendly, and she's very outgoing, and she has a very bad ear for accents. And so when we travel, that tends to get us in trouble. Like the time that she somehow agreed to go on a date with our snorkel guide in Zanzibar, and then insisted that I had to go with her because it wasn't safe to go alone, even though he was 15 and I had sun poisoning. Or the time I strolled up to a conversation she was having with our boat captain in Costa Rica, and she's just nodding and smiling away, because she doesn't speak Spanish, but I do, and he was making plans to meet us in 4 days at the next place we were going up the coast, and I had to be like, I don't think so. But I'm from a line of people who 2 generations ago were lucky if they made the trek from Ohio to Florida once in their lives. So for me to be in Tanzania, to see the wildebeest migration, to be like with my feet on the Serengeti plains was amazing, and I was not gonna be distracted by some petty tomfoolery between Bree and the guide. So, here we go. We've been at our first camp in the Kenyan highlands for about 4 days when it's time to move to our second camp, which is about 6 hours away. Paul's gonna drive us in the Land Rover across a very remote part of the park. And so we get in the car early in the morning, we get on our way, and everywhere I look, it's like zebras and baobab trees and those rippling golden grasses and this big sky. It's like a nature documentary. I mean, just amazing. And after we've been driving for about 4 hours, seen many zebras, we see up on the hill to our right 2 young lions just sort of lolling in the sun. And while you're not supposed to take your car off the road in the park, Paul was in love, and we hadn't seen anyone for days, so he jerked a hard right and takes us up and rolls us within 10 feet of these lions. So close that we can smell them and hear these little like chuffing noises that they're making and see the way the sun kind of glints on their muscles as they settle into the grass. And I was like, this is what being alive is all about. Because when you're that close to an apex predator like that, does not happen often in Ohio. You know, my heart was beating fast, my blood was like fizzing in my veins, I could feel every nerve ending, and I was like, this is a moment I'm gonna remember forever. And then my hat flew off. We're in an open air Land Rover, hat flies off, goes skittering toward the lions, and I was like, oh well, I'll get another hat when we get to the next place. But just then, Loverboy Paul jumps out of the truck to retrieve my hat. Now, those lions were so close that one of them could have lunged and eaten his face off. And my sister and I would have been forced to just sit in the truck and watch him until we starved to death ourselves, because you know neither one of us could drive stick. But no, the lions sort of scattered away. Paul retrieved my hat. I said thank you, although I didn't fucking mean it. We got back in the truck, back on the road, back on our way, and we make it like a quarter of a mile when Paul gets the truck sunk in mud up to its axles. Okay, not to be repetitive, but we're 4 hours into a 6-hour trip. We're so far from our starting point and our destination that we're completely out of radio range. We've not seen a single person all day long, and we're in an open-air Land Rover, and we've just pissed off 2 lions. They're like a quarter of a mile away. So Paul tries to dig us out. He can't. And he says, okay, I think there's a ranger station like right over that hill. You guys stay here, and I'll give you the tire iron to protect yourselves with. And I'll be back with someone to tow us. And I was like, well, I guess this is the worst my day is gonna get. I hope this is the worst part of my day. And then he says, unless, and he's gazing soulfully at my sister, you wanna come with me? So we can share the protection of the tire iron. And my sister's in the front seat, obviously, and I see her head snap up, and I think, you go, girl, you tell him. If we wanted to walk, we would have bought the cheaper tour package. But no, God forbid we offend Paul. She says, oh my God, of course we'll go with you. You can't go out there by yourself, that's not safe. And she hops out of the truck. Now, I'm kind of an indoor kid. Like, I was wearing flip-flops because who needs hiking boots to sit in a car for 6 hours? And I'm desperately afraid of snakes and spiders and enraged fucking lions who just smelled my hat. And so I wasn't very happy about this turn of events, and I became increasingly less happy as Paul and Bree put more and more distance between us, with him always hanging back just a little bit to look at her calves. So I have asthma, and when I get freaked out, I get a little bit short of breath, and that freaks me out, so I get a little bit more short of breath, and that freaks me out, so I get a little bit more short of breath, and so on and so forth in a cycle that so far had not resulted in my death, but had never happened when I was trekking across the Serengeti with no protection and being probably likely stalked by lions. Here we go. The ranger station was not just over the hill. It was like 2 miles away. And as I watched Paul and Bree recede in front of me, all I could think about was that just like in every nature documentary ever, I was gonna be picked off and run down and eaten while the stronger members of my herd went on to procreate because I knew Paul wanted to procreate with Bree. In fact, I thought he had planned this whole fucking thing just to get the chance. So we're walking, and I'm raging and wheezing, and we're getting closer and closer, and finally we get there. Some Germans take us back to the truck, dig us out, we go on our merry way, and to this day, my sister doesn't think that she did anything wrong. But let me tell you what, she is off the zombie/nuclear apocalypse survival plan. Thank you.